Hello, welcome. We are going to do our weekly update on Her Money Club Mastermind and some of the topics that we are discussing in the mastermind that I think will benefit the entire community here as far as systems and goals, and even the difference between the two. So this topic came up as we are talking about goals. We're setting new goals for the year, and the goal overall reaching for the theme is Journey to 100K, but how we all get there looks very different. So that's why there's a roadmap that is listed in the bio if you want the roadmap for creating your custom roadmap for how to get to $100,000 in doing what you love, in being in your passions and in your gifts. But the most important part of this process is systems. The goals are nice to have, but sometimes they seem audacious, especially if you've never reached them before. And so we want to put systems in place or a plan or something to implement so that we can show up each and every day, take the bite-sized chunk and implement that day by day so we can start seeing progress early on, which then helps us create momentum, which then helps us get to the goal. So I've listed out, I have a list I'm going to go through with you of just some questions to be asking yourself and to be thinking through as you're noting the difference between systems and goals. The first question is, what is the system, structure, or plan that you are following to get to your goal? And when you're sitting back to reflect on this, is it broken into bite-sized pieces? Meaning, if the system says, hey, you're going to post every single day for the next 365 days so that you can increase your following on social media and get people into your programs or into an ebook or into digital products or physical products, whatever it is, right? That's a pretty overarching task that can be broken into more specific tasks each and every day. For example, if you're going to be posting every single day, what specifically are you planning to focus on posting about? Is it educational? Is it inspirational? Are you going to be posting Instagram lives? Are you going to be posting carousels for inspiration? Are you going to be doing reels, right? So you want to get super specific in your plan and plan that out. Even if you map it out for a week, 2 weeks, a month, you don't have to map it out for the whole year, but then you're creating a cadence of that system, of that structure that you can then play in and be inspired by each and every day to show up for. And it's less overwhelming knowing that, hey, I get to show up for this thing every single day. It's super specific in the plan and the system in place. I know what steps to take each and every day. I'm posting, where I'm posting to, maybe you're scheduling, maybe you're reaching out to clients on a regular basis. Whatever that system is, make sure that you're following it day to day and tracking and monitoring. The third question here is the system sustainable? And meaning no matter what, each and every day you can show up, you can follow the system, even if there's live fires, even if there's, rain, shine, whatever's going on that day. Is there enough momentum and enough commitment from you to follow that system each and every day? And if so, that is sustainable as far as the plan, right? So just tuning into what is realistically possible from a task by task, time that you spend, energy that you put into it. Is it reasonable and sustainable no matter what? Even if you're sick, could you be still working through this process or getting ahead of the process using the system that you have in place to get you to your goals? The next question I have here is really about commitment. And I debated putting this question first, but I think you really have to know what you're committing to before you decide to commit to it. That's why having this laid out, even in draft form, and what it is specifically you're going to commit to, because committing to, creating $100,000 in your world, that sounds fabulous. But if you don't even know specifically, day by day, task by task, the system that you are committing to, then it becomes a little bit wobbly and you may not likely hit your goal, right? The other factor that I want to throw in here is accountability. If you don't have a tracking system, if you don't have accountability buddies, or really people and community to hold you accountable, you're even less likely to hit those goals. That's why we created these mastermind programs. That's why there's a pod available to you, so that if you want to be held accountable to these goals, if you want support in that, that's what the community masterminds are available for, in terms of creating that cohesion for yourself. And so the commitment in following the system, no matter what, is the next question you get to ask yourself. Are you committed to the process? Are you committed to working the system as it's designed until it pops, until you see the momentum? Even when you show up on Instagram Live and no one's watching, and later on people watch them, right? Like, just keep that in mind, that the first steps, the starting of the process, is the hardest part, because you have the most resistance to doing something you're not comfortable doing, not familiar doing, and creating the momentum as you move forward in that system, in that habit, which ultimately gets you to those goals. Now, the next question is, are you tracking your activity that follows this system? And so tracking is one of the most important things you could be doing on your own if you have no accountability, buddies or support system. At least be tracking in a spreadsheet, in some sort of format where each and every day you have mapped out, these are the things I'm doing, this is how I'm doing it, and checking the box. Did you do it? Some of us in the mastermind have on our phone specifically the 5 or 6 tasks that we do every single day on our phone as a background. And that allows us to, before we hit the pillow at night, keep track, tally it up. Did I do all the things? If not, I'm getting out of bed and I'm going and completing it for the day, so that I can be 90% consistent or better in following the system that I've outlined and designed for myself to hit my goals. And when you're 90% consistent or more, you're much more likely to hit your goals. So that tracking process really gives you the ability to do the math. Do the math on, was I 90% consistent this week or not? Am I just, doing it in my mind and thinking I'm consistent, but the reality is I'm not? And when you do this, think about like when you do this with food and nutrition. When you show up and you eat healthy all week long, and then, maybe you have pizza on the weekend or a glass of wine or whatever it is, like that is still you being 90% consistent, because 6 out of the 7 days of the week, you are consistent in following your nutrition plan, right? And in doing what you said you're going to do, following the system. The same thing applies to making money in whatever capacity you make it in. Whether you are running a side hustle, in your career, or in business, all of these systems are really helpful to track and monitor your consistency. And the last thing I want to add here, and I'll leave you with this, is don't compromise on your goals just because you didn't put a plan or a system in place. The plan and the system is what you get to work and be in every day. It's not the goal itself. And that's why I reiterate constantly that this is a journey to 100K. The 100K part is not the important part. It is the journey that is most important. And so this journey and this process of day to day managing your emotional state, managing the system that you have in place, refining the system that you have in place if it's not working, and checking in and getting feedback from either your community or the clients that you serve, or just giving yourself feedback, taking it, observing yourself from outside yourself, taking it in a whole higher level and looking and observing and saying objectively, am I doing the thing that I want to be doing in the system that I've created to get to the goal that I want to meet? So hopefully that was helpful. Systems versus goals, huge topic of where we all get to go next in creating that journey to 100K. If you have questions, leave them below or shoot us a message, and I'm happy to answer.